Friedrich Schiller and Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the titans of German letters, a pair without equal, standing side by side. But which was more important then and now? They met here in Weimar, and to this day they dominate the visual landscape of the city. Perhaps a visit to one of the city's oldest bookstores can help. Who sells more copies?
No question, Goethe. But that's simply because of the extent of the literature. Goethe is more widely published than Schiller.
To get a clearer picture, we've called in the experts. Christoph Schmelzle has worked for years on Schiller. Literary scholar Gerhard Müller is a lover of Goethe.
His poetry is world-class literature and always will be. Much of it has been completely absorbed into German life. There have been countless recordings and translations into every possible language.
In the 19th century, Goethe was never as celebrated as Schiller. The tide turned in the 20th century, and today everyone thinks Goethe reigns supreme. But it used to be the other way around.
The plot thickens. What about sales back then? Goethe's The Sorrows of Young Werther was published in 1784. It sold well at home and abroad.
Werther was a real hit when it went on the market because it simply expressed the feelings of a generation. It was a kind of liberation.
Goethe didn't need to write for money. But Schiller managed to sell huge numbers of books by the end of his career.
Schiller reached the heights of success with his William Tell. A rallying cry against tyranny, it became a bestseller. And despite ill health, he continued to write ballads, plays, and philosophical papers. He used the proceeds to support his family. Meanwhile, Goethe was satisfied to be an artist and polymath, a collector, researcher, and traveler. On a long trip to Italy, he wrote nothing more than a diary. It was Schiller who brought him back to literature. Their correspondence highlighted their contrasting styles.
Goethe had a very flighty style of handwriting. He thought faster than he could write.
Schiller was prolific and had a distinctive style.
Unlike Goethe, he didn't have an entourage of secretaries who would do his writing for him. Rather, he was someone who would sit alone at his desk at night and not like Goethe be pacing around his study dictating.
This brings us to the final round of the clash of the titans. Which of the pair was the bigger ladies' man? Was it Goethe, the old charmer who fell for young women when he was an old man?
I don't think it was all that bad. I'm sure more happened in fantasy than in reality.
We've got eyewitness accounts of Schiller visiting brothels with groups of soldiers. There you can see how different their backgrounds were.
Schiller was less upright, until he married into nobility. Then he became stricter and couldn't understand his friend Goethe living in sin with a child born out of wedlock. So who then wins our battle of the giants? Goethe may rest on his laurels, but Schiller also has legions of fans and a sure place on the monument. It's a tie, and they stand side by side.